You're listening to Top 4, a new series presented by the Game Pitch Podcast.
Join hosts Brandon and Eli as they build gaming Mount Rushmores every week.
Enjoy topics that range from the best multiplayer types to the top bug Pokemon.
Catch fresh episodes of Top 4 every Wednesday on the Project Nerd Network.
And don't miss new episodes of the Game Pitch Podcast, dropping every Monday morning.
Let's get ready to rank. Hello and welcome to the Top 4 and More podcast, presented by Game Pitch on the Project Nerd Network. My name's Elijah. I'm here with Brandon. Brandon, how you feeling?
Elijah, I'm feeling so good this week, man. I'm really excited about this topic.
You picked it. See, this is the thing. Like, when I pick the topic, you're like, I'm good, man. But when you pick the topic, you're like, I'm so good. No, I'm just kidding. I see how it is. So if you don't know, this is the Top 4 More podcast where we talk about video games, but we create our personal Mount Rushmores of different gaming topics. This week, Brandon picked the topic. Brandon, what'd you pick?
Elijah, we're going to be talking about video game locales.
Okay. So this is like a place where a video game takes place?
Yes, sir.
So I imposed a rule on myself that I did not forward you or message you, but I only put places that originated in a video game. So like I didn't like take a place that was like from a movie universe and be like, I want to go to Hoth because Hoth is in Star Wars games.
Sure, okay.
But if you did, that's fine.
I respect that.
I did not on my main list. There is one honorable mention I have that kind of has.
Definitely. No, I feel like that's sort of, it's almost like an unspoken rule that we kind of have, right? Like Star Wars is almost always off limits just because, it's Star Wars.
Yeah, we're going to pick Star Wars. Like it's just like, hey, where do you want to hang out at a gaming locale? Can I go to the cantina? Can I just kick it there and watch, robots get shot and things?
Exactly. Yeah. I didn't necessarily follow that rule, but I like that you did for sure.
All right. So then that means that we got to get into the honorable mentions. What you
Whoa.
got, pal?
Oh. Let's pump the brakes on that one, Elijah. We ain't talking about honorable mentions till we talk about why I chose this topic here, Elijah.
Well, why'd you pick it, my friend? Dang.
Storytelling is my favorite form of art, Elijah. It's the reason I like comic books, it's the reason I like movies, and it's the reason that I like video games. One of the foundations of storytelling is the setting. I think a good story revolves around characters in a world where characters have an impact on the world, right? And video games have such a special way of immersing us in these worlds that they build that no other medium has. And the pleasure of really getting to experience that to its fullest as of late. We've mentioned it a couple episodes ago. I think this must have been 3 or 4 episodes ago at this point, but I'm really working through my backlog of current generation titles before we get ready for the next generation. And as well, I also just completed Ghost of Tsushima, and goddamn, dude, what a world that they built there. Again, I think video games just have such a special way that they're able to transport us to somewhere that we've never been before, and no other medium can do it the way that video games do.
Okay, that's very fair, and you're right, because they don't let you explore them yourself. So like in a movie like the new Dune movie, or in Blade Runner, A Beautiful World, like not beautiful like as in what happens in the world, but just like how it looks visually.
Right.
I don't get to pick the direction I go in, but in a game I do get to do that.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah, you choosing the pace is important.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's really cool when they let you experience the world, right? They're not holding your hand. They're not forcing you to go pick up these notes and read it that, add to the story, or maybe not even to the story, more just world building, right? You don't get that in any other medium.
No, you don't. You definitely don't. Now are we allowed to get to the honorable mentions, sir? Or
we can talk about honorable mentions now.
Okay, I was like, don't smack me. Okay, so what are your honorable mentions, pal?
Okay, so for honorable mentions, I did open worlds for the most part. I wanted to stray away from open worlds just because I think that can be a topic on its own that we'll explore more in the future.
Yeah.
Open worlds in general, and then Midgar from God of War, because, man, I really ride for the new God of War, Elijah, and I love what they did as far as exploring the 9 realms, but Midgar especially really got a chance to shine. I love what they did with putting pieces of Norse mythology into the world and letting you find those on your own.
What was the fairy realm? Is that Alfheim or is that just Thor movies?
It might be Alfheim, yeah.
Okay, it just looked pretty in God of War. I liked it.
Yeah,
It
no,
was
definitely.
I liked the way it looked. So, so any other honorable mentions?
That's it for honorable mentions for me, Elijah. What you got?
Oh man, I have quite a few. Okay, so the Pikmin planet, just because I like the Honey I Shrunk the Kidsness of it, where like they're lifting like big old like mint canisters essentially. Like I like that a lot. I went with Final Destination from Smash Bros. Just because I've been at that locale so much in my life, so it's just like I like Final Destination from Smash Bros. Whatever. This is the only like licensed properties that I wanted to mention, but Lego Worlds, like any of them, just because the destruction and the destructibility, like just things like something you're familiar with built out of Legos is cool, whether it's Hogwarts or something else. I really like that. And then a shout out to any of the Lord of the Ring games, because Middle Earth is just a effing cool place to be. Like just all of it, Helm's Deep, whatever that happens to be. And then the last one is just space in general. Like it could be on a Halo. That's cool. It could be the Citadel and Mass Effect. Like just if I'm in space in a game, I'm probably having a good time.
Very nice. That's a solid list of honorable mentions there. I really like the Lego one just because Lego Batman 2 is one of my favorite open world games. I love the Gotham City that was built out of Legos, dude. Super solid.
What stuff's built out of Legos is just cool.
It sure is. It sure is. I never got a chance to fully enjoy the new Shadow of Mordor and Shadow of War games, but I definitely like. I think Shadow of War had like the frozen lake with the Balrog in it, and yeah, I get down on some Lord of the Rings worlds as well.
Yeah, I'm a big fan over here. But Brandon, I have to ask you, what is your number 4, friend?
Elijah, sound the alarms. We're going. We're doing something. I'm doing something I've never done before because I'm looking at this list and something about it just doesn't feel right. I'm going off script here. We're doing
Hell
it.
yeah.
We're
Hell yeah.
doing it.
Let's go.
Number 4 for me is going to be Arkham City from Batman Arkham City. I know I
Okay.
said no open worlds, and this is an open world, but you know what? Fuck it.
It's your rules. You live your life.
Yeah, Gotham City is one of my favorite. I almost said mythical. Damn it! What's the word I'm looking for, Elijah? Fictional. That's the word.
Okay.
It's one of my favorite fictional places, just because of how alive it feels. And I think Arkham City did it best. All of the Arkham games, you know, exploring Arkham Asylum was cool, and all of Gotham City in Arkham Knight was cool as well. But something about the way that Arkham City built the world and told its stories within the world, I think really put it above the other Arkham games.
Okay.
Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna ask then, is this your favorite Gotham? Like movies aside, like everything. Is this your favorite Gotham?
Yeah, 100%. Well, no, because obviously the animated series has the best Gotham.
Oh well.
But yeah, I would say this is number 2 for me. I love how each like little section really felt like very unique. You know, the Sionis Steel Mill, which was of course originally Black Mask's territory, but Joker took over it, felt very alive just because of how, you know, of course the Joker goons and Joker taking over it really transformed that place. I love that the GCPD got taken over by Mr. Freeze and everything inside was frozen. Wonder Tower and Wonder City under Wonder Tower was that blew my mind the first time I went there. I never felt so immersed in a world up to that point. I love Arkham City as a game and as a place.
Gotcha. No, this is like it's high praise, but obviously like Batman's one of your favorite things ever, so of course you're going to love any interpretation of Gotham as long as it doesn't suck ass.
Exactly. Yeah. I'm glad that you brought that up because one of the things here in my notes that I mentioned, so this was on my list. It was number 1, but again, looking at it, it just didn't feel right. As much as I love it, I don't think it deserves a number 1 spot for me this week. But one of the things that I was going to mention is I will play even if each sequential game got worse, I will always play these Arkham games. Okay, every single one.
It's just like the final like Arkham 11 is just like Batman in a dental office and he's just getting a root canal, but you're like, hell yeah, sign me up. Where's the statue? I need bats in the chair getting his teeth drilled.
Give me that statue.
Okay, well, I'm going to my number 4 now. That's enough Batman talk.
Let's hear it.
I'm hitting the Batman like limit. um. Okay, so I had trouble picking exactly one location from Pokemon. What I decided was I really like the island from Snap, and that's just because it has like a relaxed vibe.
Yeah,
And it's just like hey, you're just like on a tropical vacation. So like I almost picked the Orange Islands, but those were like more in the cartoon than in the games.
sure.
And then if you had to like pick like a locale, maybe I'd say like Viridian Forest, because that was like always just like that's when Pokemon really opened up to me, and it wasn't the city. It was like, oh man, I'm going in this forest, and I'm like, it's like right before you hit Mount Moon and stuff like that. So it's like that's like when it really felt like an adventure, and that's when I fell in love with Pokemon. So really love Viridian Forest, but if I can have like a whole like island, then I would choose the Snap Island just because of how like relaxed it was. Also, it's only filled with Gen 1 Pokemon, the only good gen of Pokemon.
Oh man, dropping hot takes here. Okay,
I mean, other Pokemon are fine.
but just fine though.
Yeah, they're fine. I mean, one of them's a washer and dryer. The other one's a chandelier. Come on, man.
That's fair. You got me there. You got me there. So I think one of the things that I think if I had to choose, like, this is the best Pokemon location, I think I'd have to agree with you in saying that Snap is the best, simply because I think the Snap Island feels the most alive, right? Because
Yes.
everything else, all the other locations and all of the other games, they don't feel like they exist unless you're interact with them. But Snap
Hmm.
is quite the opposite, right? It feels like this place exists and you're just going to explore.
Yeah, it's like, let me trick this freaking Ponyta over to this like fire thing so it becomes a Rapidash. Like all that crazy stuff. Like just like, oh, I got to get this Charmeleon into a volcano so it becomes a Charizard. Like kind of bullshit lava nonsense. Like I love it.
It's good
Good.
stuff.
It is. What's your number 3, pal?
Number 3 for me is going to be Libertalia from Uncharted 4.
Libertalia from Uncharted 4.
Yeah, my dude. So this is actually one of the reasons that I chose this topic. I just beat pretty much the entire Uncharted series for the first time. I haven't played Lost Legacy yet, but um, Uncharted 4 was obviously the most recent one that I played, and man, I was blown away. But the world building and the storytelling that they were able to do and accomplish in Libertalia was unparalleled to most of the games of this caliber, right? I loved picking up the notes from each of the pirate captains that showed up, and really learning both from those as well as just things in the environment about what went down in this place. There was such a air of mystery around it when you first come in, and you see like all these hanging bodies and ruins of these giant mansions. There something about it, man. It was just so fun to explore.
Okay. Like I guess I wouldn't think of any of the Uncharted locations as a place that like I think fondly of, but no, I totally get what you mean with the mystery there. I think, you know what, it's like in my head I kind of avoided real world locations, and I don't think that was on purpose. I was like just by default because I like fantasy worlds. Like I'm always gonna like a sci-fi shooter like a Halo more than I like a Call of Duty, even though effectively you're still shooting a thing. It's just that it's way cooler when it's in space to me. So I guess I would have never like default thought of any of like the real world locations, or even though it's not a real world location, but you know what I mean, right? Like a place that could exist on Earth.
Yeah, exactly. So funny that you bring that up, because I revised this list a couple times just because man, there's so many good video game locales and
Mm-hmm.
worlds. But one of the lists included like places that I wanted to go in real life, right? Like the island of Tsushima was on there, Seattle, because The Last of Us 2. I'm going to be taking some trips at some point in the future to go visit these places in real life. Yeah.
Well, what's cool is our hometown is where Horizon Zero Dawn was. So like the
Yeah,
Air Force
dog.
Academy, like yeah, like I almost put that on the list, but I was like, it's too much of a homer pick to be a
Yeah.
Colorado person to just be like, oh yeah, Guard of the Gods so is the Air Force Academy. I see the chapel. I've been there. Yeah, like yeah, it seemed like one step too much.
I feel that. That one almost made it to my list, but I felt the same way.
Yep. Okay. Cool. So then is it time for my number 3?
Let's hear it.
It's Hyrule
Ooh, which one though?
or Karina.
Oh, okay.
It's the one that I feel like I have a mastery of.
Yeah.
So even though I played Link to the Past and the original Legend of Zelda, I never felt like those were my Hyrules because I was too young and I sucked at those games and I was always constantly lost and I wasn't, enough of an adult to understand what was going on. But by the time that I played Ocarina of Time on, my 64 and not a cousin system, and something that I could, control when I started playing and all of that. I just feel like, I guess kind of in the same way as like Banjo Kazooie, where like if one of my friends is playing Banjo Kazooie and they're missing a puzzle piece or like notes in the game or something, like oh, I don't have 100% in this level, I know where that thing is. I was like, oh, did you check here and here? Like, and like I can like mentally figure it out. It's the same thing with Hyrule. It's just like it's in my like memory, it's in my DNA, like I know where to go. It's like I'm a homing bird like flying for migration or something. It's just like, oh yeah, I gotta go get this Skulltula and this one, and then here's this heart piece. So it's like the one that's in my bones.
Definitely. I like that a lot, Elijah. I think for me, the Hyrule and Ocarina is the most definitive Hyrule. Like when somebody says Hyrule, like that's the one that I picture in my head.
Yeah, same. Yeah, 100%. You're right. It's for me, it's the iconic one.
Zelda didn't make it into the list for me. Spoilers, but I definitely almost put Hyrule from Breath of the Wild on here just because I had so much fun exploring that. But I agree. I think, yeah, I think Ocarina is the definitive Hyrule.
Okay, cool. So does that mean it's time to do your number 2?
It's time for number 2.
Woo-hoo.
All right, you ready for it? It's
Please.
going to be Columbia from BioShock Infinite.
I like you, friend. I like you a lot.
I like that you like me.
Columbia's awesome.
Something about Columbia. This world feels so lived in, right?
Mm-hmm.
It felt like they explored every possible avenue that they could have, right? I love the railways. I love
the propaganda posters.
Yeah, the fucking propaganda posters. Yeah. Like the bodyguards,
just the
everything
way
about it.
Yeah. The way the structures look, the way the enemies interact within the structures, the way they're dressed, everything about it is really well thought out, really well lived in, and I have no argument with you, sir.
Yeah, and again, like just the level of depth they added to exploring, like what certain things, like again, the propaganda posters, the people, transportation systems, just like even the general atmosphere, right? The level of depth and level of detail and amount of love that they poured into it made me so easily immersed in the world. I when I play BioShock Infinite, I feel like I'm in Colombia, and that's cool. It's not every game can accomplish that, but that one accomplishes it very well.
Man, I love that. I love that pick. What a solid pick, buddy.
Thank you. I think it's time for your number 2.
Okay, well, my number 2 is the Psychic Summer Camp from Psychonauts.
Ooh, okay. I've never played Psychonauts, but I've heard a lot of I've listened and watched people talk about Psychonauts, so I have like a general feel for what you're talking about. But tell me why you love it.
Well, okay, so it's summer camp, which is I think a thing that a lot of people are familiar with, or being a part of Boy Scouts or a sleepover, whatever it is. It's that you're in the wilderness. So like if you go camping, so you're in the wilderness. It's a bunch of other kids that are learning how to be psychics too. So like it's not just that it's summer camp, because summer camp is a thing to be nostalgic about, but it's psychic summer camp. And all of the instructors there are all psychics that are teaching all these kids how to use their skills. And like one of the daily activities, like basic braining, like where you learn how to jump into people's brains, is you're going through essentially like a war zone inside the coach's brain. And so like kids are getting blown up left and right, but it's all in his mind. So they're not getting hurt. So it's like this really cool aspect. And then like besides just like the actual summer camp where there's the bunk beds and the buildings and like the big lodge where everyone can like go to concerts or like the real facilities that a campground would have, there's also the wilderness around it, the woods, the caves, the things that as a kid that you would love to explore. You're like, oh, what's at the top of that tree, or what's over that valley, what's in this cave system, like all these scary things. And then like there's like these crazy like psychic prisons and stuff, so it gets like really conspiracy theory, like, so yeah, just everything about just the word psychic summer camp is something that would inspire excitement in my brain.
That's very cool. Elijah, again, so I haven't played Psychonauts. It's definitely on my list, but correct me if I'm wrong here. Again, I've listened to like some analysis and people talking about why they love this game so much. So I have a certain level of affliction for it, for sure. And I think one of the things that it does very well with just its world building in general, right? Is it kind of goes to that sort of King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table, right? Where the forest that they're exploring um, is sort of a personification of the characters that are prominent in the story when you're exploring it, right? So each of the characters, as you're jumping into their brains and exploring their psyche, they have an effect on the world, correct?
100%. Yeah. It actually, even to a further extent, where the things that you're fighting, like the enemies, are their fears, and then like the stuff that you're like you find their emotional baggage and you see what their problem is. And so the thing that's wrong in the world is something that's gone wrong in their life, whether it's abuse or loneliness or whatever. Like it gets really into the weeds. Like if you want to like it's like it kind of almost psychoanalyzes everyone's main problem. So it's almost like you going through the levels is almost like therapy for that character and you fixing a broken piece in them.
Yeah, that's damn dude, that sounds incredible.
It's effing wonderful. It's such a good game. I love it so much.
I might have to bump that up on my priority list here.
It's so freaking solid, dude. I love it.
Elijah, is it that time?
It is time for your numero uno, friend.
Ooh, this almost feels a little dirty, but whatever. It's Rapture from BioShock.
Brandon, we have the same number ones.
Yeah, dude.
You probably noticed I didn't say much when you said Columbia, because I almost put Columbia as number one, but I was like, no, I need to put Rapture, and I thought it was unfair to put two.
I feel like everything that Columbia did, Rapture did it better.
Yes.
Like I love the whole like religious texts are banned down here, and it's a very 1920s vibe. God damn, dude. What can I say about Rapture that hasn't already been said? Such an atmospheric place. Again, I feel like whenever I play Bioshock, and I ride for Bioshock. I've bought Bioshock every time it's been released. I bought it originally. I bought it when it was remastered or ported or whatever for the Xbox One and the PlayStation. And then, a couple months ago when they released it on Switch, I bought it again. I fucking love Bioshock, dude.
Like I'm staring at $500 worth of video game vinyls, and that's all because like Rapture made that old school like vibe and like record players cool again.
Yeah, I really did. Yeah.
Yeah, it made it a thing. Like video game vinyls weren't a huge thing. Bioshock came out. It's like video game vinyl, Bioshock vinyl. Like I believe that was the antithesis of it. I might be wrong that wasn't like the the I don't know the Big Bang moment.
The catalyst, yeah,
for video game vinyls. But like, yeah, man, and here's the other thing that like you cannot mistake what Rapture is. When you see Rapture, you know it. You see the Big Daddy, and no one can copy it. Like no one can do underwater video game without it seeming like a Bioshock clone. Like I can't think of underwater first person game that anyone else would attempt to do, because millions of people have tried to do stuff in space or in the West or in all these different genres that other games have populated, but no one has tried to tackle what Rapture did because it did it perfectly, and there's no comparison.
Exactly. It did it perfectly, and it did it so uniquely, right? Again, there's really been nothing else like it since then. I think it's just because it did it so well. How do you follow up that act? Rapture might be, obviously it's my favorite, but from an objective standpoint, world building wise, it's got to be top 5 at the very lowest.
Well, and I think it's this other thing, because like it's interesting that neither of us put like the Mushroom Kingdom on our list. And I think that if you're looking at like things that people can't mistake for something else, because like if someone sees an open world Zelda or like a Zelda level or like the world of Zelda, they might be like, oh, is that Lord of the Rings? Or like it's not like Zelda is 100% going to always look like Zelda all the time. It could look like Fantasy World X, Y, or Z. But sure, Rapture is unmistakable in the same way that the Mushroom Kingdom is. Like you see Mushroom Kingdom and you're like, oh yeah, like it is one of the gaming worlds. I would say that in the number one spots for gaming locales that people would recognize the soonest, it's Rapture and the Mushroom Kingdom. Like that's just how I feel.
Yeah, I think I can agree with that. I think again, like you were touching on it a bit there, right? But Hyrule can look so many different ways. Mushroom Kingdom can look so many different ways, but there's only one Rapture.
And even though there's always a lighthouse, there is one of one.
One of one. Couldn't have said it better myself.
Bioshock's so effing good.
Bioshock is so good, dude.
Ken just Godspeed, sir. Like just he makes the best games, dude.
He sure does. He sure does. I'm excited to see what he's got in store for us next.
I can't just. Oh man, you're making me want to go play all these stupid Bioshock games again. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna probably buy them both on Switch tonight. Thank you.
Do
Thank you
it.
for making me spend money. Yeah, well, because Infinite's incredible, and so is the first. Like the first game is so solid.
It's time for a dirty confession. I've never played 2 to the end.
I have not either.
Okay, cool. I'm glad that we're on the
But
same page at least.
But I have played Burial at Sea, the DLC that is very good.
Oh, great. It's fantastic, dude. I love how, yeah. And again, it takes us back to Rapture, the fucking best place.
It's what you want. It's really what you need.
It's what you want. It's what you need.
So I do have a new segment for you. Are you ready for the surprise new segment?
Oh boy, let's hear it.
This is called Friends of the Pod shitting on us because we missed something that was very obvious to include on our list, and how dare we?
Oh, okay. Yeah, I know what this is about, but go ahead and let's get into it.
Okay, so the first one is from our Alien Species episode, and friend of the pod, Kyle, he said, how could we not have Alien Hominid in here? We're idiots. Like,
Oh, okay.
Alien Hominid from Alien Hominid. Okay, so that's one of them. The pod pal JD was upset about us not having simoleons from the Sims currency from the currency episode.
Yep.
And then me personally, I'm mad at myself for on our gaming sequels episode not including Half-Life 2, like a real idiot.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's
I messed up. To a lesser extent, Assassin's Creed 2, because like Ezio is perfect, and that's.
I think objectively the best Assassin's Creed game at this point. Still,
I would agree wholeheartedly, and I didn't mention it.
That's fair. While we're on the subject, if you haven't seen it, go check out the interaction that we had on Twitter about the simoleons and the currency episode, because my meme game was on point.
Brandon with the self backpack. As always, you can find us at projectnerd.com. We're presented by Game Pitch. Oh, you can find us different places like Google and Apple and Spotify. Brandon's at Mr. Snow97 on Twitter. I'm at Mario RPGino. Brandon, take us out.
Thank you so much for listening to the Top 4 and More podcast. I'm Brandon. This is my best friend Elijah, and we'll see you here next week.